Congratulations on your decision to learn more about the science behind the Reaction brand of full-spectrum extract products. As the industry's premier processor and supplier of whole plant extraction products, we feel it paramount that you not only understand why using the complete hemp plant is critical, but also many of the pitfalls that occur when you don't. As you will learn, it is this main point of difference that allows Reaction to stand alone at the top of an industry that desperately needs a leader whose primary focus is to put the true needs of people ahead of the greedy drive for profits. The CBD industry is a crowded and confusing space, and it's no wonder either, since it's projected to grow 600% in the next couple of years alone. Naturally, there are lots of companies you've never heard of, and of course this means that there's also a lot of players out there just trying to get in, make the most money they can in the least amount of time, and get out. The problem is, they're doing this by perpetuating false and misleading science to consumers like you and me to support their inferior, sometimes unhealthy, and potentially dangerous products. So how can you tell what makes one product not only more effective but safer than the others? Case in point, check out this clip from a recent Dr. Phil show where he and Dr. Oz talk about some of the potential dangers of these inferior CBD products.
This is where the testing is done for THC, CBD, all of the cannabinoids, all of the pesticides, there's 66 of them that we test for, and all of the heavy metals. What's really important to remember is that CBD is regulated by the FDA for only one drug, Epidiolex, and that's for 2 rare childhood seizure disorders. For everything else, it's the wild, wild west.
So you test these things here that aren't regulated, and you're looking for what over here?
So over here, we're looking for heavy metals,
right?
Cadmium, arsenic, mercury, lead, pesticides.
And those things show up in a lot of the CBD products that come through here.
Unfortunately, they do, because remember, hemp is a bioaccumulator. So whatever is in the ground gets sucked up into that plant. If there's lead in the ground, it's going to get sucked up into the plant. And whatever gets sucked up into the plant is going to end up in the final product unless it's intentionally taken out.
What have you found in general?
We have found pesticides in general. We have found heavy metals. We have found mycotoxins. Aspergillus causes aspergilloma in patients that are immune compromised. That can wreak havoc.
Some of the people that are seeking this out are already immune compromised. Then they're especially vulnerable to the heavy metals, the pesticides.
In particular to the fungus that you just mentioned, because it grows like these big mothballs in your lungs, takes over your breathing ability. It can kill you. It can burrow its way into arteries. I mean, it's a horrible death. I had no idea you were finding those kinds of elements as well. It's just sloppy. They're not bothering because they don't care about the people. They're just a checkbook. They're a credit card.
Yeah, they just want their money. They don't care about the consequences. And when if a consequence arises, they're gone. I mean, they're like trying to sack fog. You can't find them, they just poof.
Remember, testing for this stuff isn't cheap. One of these things costs $500,000. This is the same kind of equipment that tests baby formula. So what you're describing costs money, and there's a financial incentive, if you don't have to not do it.
And then they're using our names to validate it, fraudulently.
It doesn't cost them anything to steal our names. They don't have to pay you money to test it appropriately. It's cash, 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 which is all they're seeing, dollar signs, when they're talking to people that ask us for advice.
Yeah, well, when you skip steps and steal names, it's easy. It's all profit.
That's right.
So is there actually CBD at the level that's supposed to be in these products?
There often is not as much CBD as they purport to put in there, because CBD can be very expensive. It can cost close to $10,000 a pound for the CBD.
Oh.
So you can imagine there's a pretty significant economic disincentive not to put CBD in the product if you don't have to, and no one's going to check.
Could you take us through the actual products that we sent you?
Absolutely, sure. So we tested a product that came to us from someone that was purporting to have you be their spokesperson, but the test that we did on this failed. It failed because it is not safe for human consumption under any circumstance. It failed because it was too high in its lead content.
In lead?
In lead, 15 times higher than safe levels, 500 times higher than our level of detection.
Ooh.
Okay, 15 times higher than safe. So this isn't a close call. This is highly toxic.
Highly toxic and very dangerous because lead accumulates, and again, because nobody takes just one of these pills or one droplet. This is stuff that people use continuously.
It's interesting that one of the products that we brought here that tested positive for lead 15 times above acceptable level is called verified. Like verified, like we've checked this.
Well,
They
we now
haven't
did
checked
verify.
it. Yeah, it's dangerous stuff. What's the impact that you see with lead?
I think every mom appreciates the danger of lead. When you peel the lead paint, it would destroy the ability of kids to learn, drops IQ dramatically. But I'll tell you, in adults, infertility can be caused by lead issues, a lot of belly pain, continuous nausea, all these things that you might attribute to the world around you, some crazy allergy that you don't really have. It could be because of lead that you're paying money to put in your body because you don't know it's there because people aren't going to bother checking. And in terms of the mind, Phil,
Yeah, cognitively, this is a real toxic substance because it can create irritability. It creates a fuzziness of mind and inability to concentrate. And with children, it really can create developmental problems with them. And for women, it can accumulate in the bone, and postmenopausal, it releases this lead. So years later, it can release and create problems in your organs. So this is just bad stuff.
if you think about how reprehensible these people are, if they're stealing your money, that's bad, but then they're stealing your health on top of it, right? You're paying money to hurt yourself. Maybe if you'd actually bought a good product, it could have helped you with that terrible pain you're having, or that insomnia you suffer with. Now, you just don't know.
CBD by itself has some positive utility. There's probably good stuff that can come from CBD, but we do that sort of thing through the FDA. We need the FDA to make this a nutritional supplement at least so that there are regulations around